Throughout the history of cinema, there have been many masterpieces. Gone with the Wind, Lord of the Rings, and Citizen Kane are a few that spring to mind. These great movies are full of memorable moments, but this time we look at those movies considered by some to be poor in comparison, but do unexpectedly have that one scene or sequence that stands out. I'm Matt from Team Red Shirt Media. Click like, share and subscribe to the channel. Sit back and enjoy my picks for great moments in bad movies. In the waning moments of the 20th century, Star Wars fans were awash with excitement as they eagerly anticipated the release of the first film in 16 years. Fans lined up outside movie theatres for days to get a glimpse of their familiar favourites and see the Jedi at their peak. The trailer told us, every generation has a legend, and that every saga has a beginning. Fans couldn't wait. What we got, however, was not a pulse-pounding, action-packed, end-to-end space opera, but a more laboured, sterile, boring affair about trade disputes. Trade disputes, that's what we're going with?
That's what the script says.
Alright. The film under-delivered on most fronts, but for me the appearance of Darth Maul at the end of the movie is its most redeeming feature. At the start of this sequence, we know we are in for some serious shit. We get the slow build of John Williams' Duel of Fates, an imposing sight of Darth Maul, and then the fangasmic double-bladed lightsaber reveal. We now have the moment all fans remember, a back-and-forth fight between Jedi and Sith at their prime, mixed with great choreography, impressive visuals, and a score that will be forever remembered. This moment really gets you on the edge of your seat. As the battle rages, it culminates in what at the time was the shocking death of hero Qui-Gonn Jinn and the ultimate climactic victory of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This is one of the best lightsaber fights put to film. When The Man of Steel hit theatres, fans were treated to a Superman that not only looked the part, but also a movie that could now deliver the effects needed to translate the most famous superhero onto the big screen. I personally liked The Man of Steel, but unfortunately the reviews were mixed. Next we got to see Batman and Superman in the same film, expecting it to be beyond epic, but it was not.
Why did you say that name?
I'm beginning to see a trend here. Anyway, well next came Justice League. What could possibly go wrong? The answer, everything. Instead of an epic ensemble of DC's greatest heroes, we merely got a disjointed mashup of ideas from Whedon and Snyder. From Superman's infamous mustache deletion to a colour palette that made you want to vomit, this film failed to deliver on most accounts. There was, however, a relatively interesting addition to the universe, and that was Ezra Miller's The Flash. His standout moment came during the fight between Superman and the rest of our heroes. In this moment, Kal-El brushes aside Wonder Woman, Aquaman and Cyborg with ease. It's not until the Flash moves in with his Speed Force that we start to think anyone can stop the dazed and confused Man of Steel. Superman at first appears to be unable to track the movement of the Flash, until this cleverly executed shot. Ezra Miller's acting here is excellent. The look on his face is priceless as the Man of Steel slowly tracks him and puts an end to his valiant attempts. As a result, we are treated to a great piece of comedy and action as the Flash dodges all of Superman's attacks. The James Bond movie franchise is a juggernaut, and with 25 films to its name, there were bound to be a few stinkers. Unfortunately for Roger Moore, he has too many of the latter to his name. His first two entries, Live and Let Die and The Man with the Golden Gun, are considered his best, but unfortunately The Spy Who Loved Me did not live up to its predecessors. From a ridiculous plot where a shipping tanker eats submarines, a villain that wants to start a nuclear war so he can establish a civilization under the water, to a final battle on a base that looks like it should be in a Thunderbirds episode, this movie is a mess. I'm not kidding, that's actually the plot. It did, however, create the most memorable Bond opening sequence ever, one that is performed by a talented stunt team I might add. It sees our hero spy being ambushed, and him narrowly escaping followed by a chase down an unassailable mountainside. The hammy disco-style music is a little distracting, but the sequence shows off some exceptional skiing and spectacular vistas. In today's modern movie world, the scene of Roger Moore in front of a projection screen can be quite jarring, but remember, this was the 70s. They chase Bond until it looks like he's done for and there is nowhere else for him to go. Then this happens. Na 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 The stunt, the cinematography, and the timing of the reveal is on point. A classic Bond opening sequence and arguably the best. The third Iron Man has many flaws, and even if you were to ask the hardened Marvel fan, it would be towards the bottom of their list. From poor pacing and a terrible reveal of the Mandarin, this movie is far from the crown jewel of the MCU. The movie is set after the events of the attack on New York, and is our first movie after a groundbreaking ensemble movie, The Avengers. Nope, not that one. To be honest, that's some big shoes to fill. The film lacks the scale and size of The Avengers and suffers from this. The next movie in the franchise also suffered the same fate. It was not until we got to The Winter Soldier that Marvel were back to true form. However, Iron Man 3 does try to address a real issue that affects millions of servicemen and women, veterans and first responders around the world. Tony Stark, our indestructible hero, is shown suffering from PTSD, something that truly needs to be acknowledged. During his first episode, Tony does not understand what is happening to him, and he flees to the suit of armour to get Jarvis to run a scan. Now this scene shows Tony's incredulity to what is happening to him in a very real way that only people suffering from PTSD will know. Tony must get out of the situation and to somewhere he feels safe, the Iron Man armour. Next we see Tony and a young kid at a blast site that looks like the wormhole from New York. The kid berates Tony with questions which triggers him again. Tony once more has to leave the scene to try and calm down. These scenes are handled with such integrity that it could be considered a great contributor to removing the stigma surrounding this very real and life-altering illness. Disaster movies by their nature are a silly concept, but for some reason they fascinate us. The core is no exception. The premise is silly, the plan to save the world is insanely convoluted, and hence the movie feels at times too much. The setup is, the Earth's core has stopped rotating and a team must go into the Earth and use nuclear weapons to restart it. Again, this is actually the plot. The idea of this is pure fantasy, and is executed for the most part mediocre. What this film does great though, is handle the inevitable death of each secondary character. This is either down to a good script, or more likely a phenomenal cast. We have Hilary Swank, a two-time Oscar winner, Stanley Tucci, another Oscar winner, and Golden Globe nominee Aaron Eckhart. The death that stands out to me the most is of Josh's good friend Serge. With part of their ship crippled and Serge trapped inside, it is slowly being crushed under the pressure. The feeling of claustrophobia and tension grows rapidly. We get a true sense of helplessness from characters Josh and Braz as they try in vain to unlock the door to help their friend. Josh pleads with Beck, the ship's captain, to override the lockout and allow him to grab Serge. The atmosphere builds and we see him slowly get crushed, with realization from Braz that no matter what he tries, he cannot override the door to rescue his friend. The inevitable happens and the screen with Serge on it cuts to static. Knowing that their friend has just died, the emotion conveyed by both actors is considerable. The scene ends with a great to and fro from Eckhart and Swank about why she did not override the system. Two powerhouses throwing down real emotional scenes in a film that is silly by its premise. So there you have it, 5 memorable moments that stand out in pretty lousy movies. Thanks for watching and don't forget to do the clicky thing.